The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this or any broadcast belong solely to our guests or our hosts. These broadcasts do not represent or reflect the views of their employers, sponsors, or affiliated organizations.
Welcome to the Flipboard EDU podcast with your host, William Jeffrey, where we collaborate, communicate, and educate with the greatest educators in the world on Flipboard. Let's start the show.
Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey. And one of the prevalent problems in COVID-19 era is the lack of digital access for students, parents, and teachers. They all know this problem all too well, as it has continued disparities in education. The most significant of these is that teachers and schools have struggled to get students to show up for online classes and interact with them using technology at the same rate as face-to-face instruction. Carrie Kozecki, Dr. Stephanie Frazier, Solandra Bowman, and Stacy Fitzsimmons addressed this problem recently at South by Southwest EDU. In their session titled Educast, Legacy Tech as a Bridge to Broadband, they shared how they are serving multiple communities without access to the internet using legacy technology. Their presentation simply blew me away. In this episode, we speak with Dr. Stephanie Frazier of SCETV in South Carolina and Stacy Fitzsimmons of SNF Writing Solutions in Indiana. We speak with them about the way states like South Carolina, Indiana, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Kentucky, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Virginia, and Michigan are collaborating and bringing on digital access to students without internet connections. We also talk about equity and improving access for all students, regardless of their socio-economic background. So like we always do about this time, let's collaborate, communicate, and educate with the best educators in the world right here on Flipboard EDU Podcast. Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey, and I have two amazing guests here. I have Miss Stacy Fitzsimmons and Dr. Stephanie Frazier. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacy, tell the listening audience a little bit about yourself.
I am Stacy Fitzsimmons, and I am a management consultant based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And I have been contracted through the Indiana public broadcasting stations to manage the datacasting implementation here in Indiana, the subject of what we're talking about today.
Dr. Stephanie Frazier, introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I am Stephanie Frazier, and I serve as the Vice President of Education for South Carolina ETV, which is our state's public media network. I've been there for about 2 years, and for the past year, datacasting has been my life.
Let me tell everybody how I found out about you guys. So I was at South by Southwest EDU on Thursday, and I saw your presentation and it blew my mind. And simply because I'm an assistant principal and I work in a rural area, some of our families in my school district can't afford internet. There's no way for them. I just happened to stumble upon your presentation. This right here is just an amazing thing that you got. So I want to start talking to Stephanie first. What is datacasting? I wrote educasting, but what is datacasting, please?
Sure. So Educast is the platform that we coined in South Carolina that delivers educational datacasting. So Stacy may certainly call it something different. If you're talking to others in other states, they may have another name for the platform, but educational datacasting as a concept is shared among all of our projects. And quite simply, that is the use of a broadcast signal to send instructional content to a student's device. So like we're recording this podcast right now, there's an audio and a visual component. If you have a student who would not otherwise be able to access this content, with datacasting, you could send the audio and the video file to that student over our broadcast signal. It's going to go to their iPad, their cell phone, whatever device they have. If it can connect to a network, they can receive the datacast, but it is not using the internet.
That is amazing. Therefore, families who cannot afford the internet are still able to receive videos, let's say documents and that type of thing, correct? Am I understanding that properly?
That is absolutely correct. If you can upload it into a learning management system, you can send it via a Datacast. So Word, any of the Office products, a video, audio file, it can be sent.
Amazing. So, Stacy, this next question is for you. And I just want to phrase it in the right way. Originally, I was like, what made you think that this could serve families? But how is this serving the families in your community?
So in Indiana, we originally embarked on this thinking that we were going to serve the kids that don't have internet. We thought we were serving a situation where it was a have or a have not scenario with internet. What we have found along our journey is that there is such a broad spectrum of internet access within our state and across the country. And so we're actually finding that there's a huge gray area of internet access. From we have internet access, we say we have internet access because it's mom's cell phone, but that's the only data access we have in our house, all the way up to we have dial-up. So technically we have internet. I can't watch a video if it's required. Then we do have those that do have broadband, and it might be sufficient to host a student for their day, but maybe not everyone in the family at the same time, especially if there's multiple learners or multiple parents at home trying to work too. So we're serving all of those families, not just the ones that don't have internet, but anyone that's on that spectrum that can't support an entire family using internet at the same time.
That's amazing. All people in the household, if they have a device, are they all able to get that same signal without much interruption?
Yes. Each house is equipped with the Educast or Datacast unit, which looks like an old school cable box for those of us old enough to remember them, and a window antenna. And that's the equipment that you need. You need to be able to bring in the broadcast signal, and you need this box. And then from the box, any student that has a device that can access Wi-Fi can bring down their content, and it can be specified down to the student. So if you have multiple students in the household, they're only seeing the content targeted to them.
Man, get out of here.
It's either done by login or just by saying, we have 3 kids. We have a 2nd grader, an 8th grader, and a 10th grader. And so it's going to recognize by the email address that the student logs into the system with that I need this class. And it's only pulling in that content, and that's what the student's going to see.
Wow. I was not expecting that answer. Okay, so now, Stephanie, what are some of the successes that you guys have been seeing using this technology?
I do want to just take a moment to speak generally to the success that this particular project has brought in terms of enhancing the partnerships between public media and our K-12 partners. I think that public media, if you're familiar with our mission, it's always been rooted in the provision of educational resources, and we have too many to mention. But I think with Datacasting and our response in terms of using this technology during the pandemic, we've been able to just reposition our seat at the table a bit and show the value of our legacy technology and the ability to offer services to students in this gray area that Stacy's talking about. But in terms of individual successes, I often tell people this is probably the most meaningful work that I've ever done here. Because when you talk to grandparents, when you talk to parents or students who typically are not able to get the YouTube videos, or when they go home, they don't get what the other students are able to log in and see. Mm-hmm. And you plug it up for them and you're like, okay, click here and you should be able to see your assignments in your videos. They're like, what? I mean, and we're talking about the most rural parts of our respective states. Mm-hmm. And so for us, the success has been connectivity and enhanced learning experience for those students who can't take the virtual field trip because they can't download the video. They can't complete the assignment, or they're having to go to their grandparents' house to get to the internet to even figure out what their teacher wants them to do. So for the student, it's creating those rich learning experiences But then also for the teachers, some of them had not heard from their students, right, during the pandemic because, okay, they may come and pick up their paper packet. We'll know if we're going to see them again. We'll know if we're going to get that paper packet back. But with Datacasting, you have some sort of way to communicate with that student, even if it's just, let me send you a quick video to check in, Stephanie, to see how you're doing. You okay on the other side? So those are the types of stories that we have heard and to experience. And it's just been amazing.
Man, I'm sitting up here saying, man, that is life-changing for a lot of our students. And before I take up this conversation, Stacy, do you think that schools should start using this form of communication instead of Wi-Fi or in conjunction?
I absolutely do. And this is not a replacement for Wi-Fi. For your students that have access to strong internet, this doesn't replace that. But what it does is it augments Wi-Fi capabilities, and it will give access to content to students that otherwise would not have access to the content. So if you have students that either can't complete assignments after school because they don't have the internet access to watch the video and type the response, or to rewatch the lesson that everybody else gets to rewatch to understand the concepts, this is being able to reach those students in either an internet desert or in a place where it's just not strong enough internet to be able to stream. This will reach those students, whether it's during the pandemic or after. This is going to reach those students and is a tool for equity. I know that's a big word this year, but this is really a tool for equity. That's what we're talking about here. Whether it's rural or urban, it is a solution for being able to raise up those students that otherwise would not be able to have the content that they can get through Datacasting. And it won't replace Wi-Fi and it won't replace other types of communication because right now it is just one way. So students can receive content, but they can't send anything back because it's just like TV. You can consume TV, but you can't send anything back through TV right now. It won't ever replace our existing communication channels, but it can certainly augment them.
That's amazing. Stephanie, in your community, how much does this equipment cost? And are you able to use recycled material with this?
So the equipment package, and it has 2 to 3 different connectivity parts that come with it, including the antenna. It's about $200 to $225. I think as the demand grows for this particular technology, the cost is certainly going to go down. But here's the good thing. For families, we have been able in all of our states to secure funding in partnership with our departments of ed or either through CARES Act funding to provide these devices for free to students. And so there's no cost to the family. There may be minimal cost to the districts, but in most cases, grant funding is covering the infrastructure and all of that. And so in comparison, it is not the same. We've talked about that. But if you're talking about MiFi device or a monthly service, that is not there. That barrier to access is not there because we have the funds to provide these devices for the next several years. And certainly once a student is done with a device, there is an ability to return it to the district and give it to another student. If that is desired, that's just going to be on a district by district basis because every district is going to handle it different. They're administering them in many ways, like the MiFi program. So a student may keep that Datacasting device as long as it remains current their entire middle or high school career.
That is simply amazing. So it works like a normal computer. I would just be able to access it and then the information comes up.
Yes. How it works is you connect through your Wi-Fi settings. So instead of accessing the cable company's Wi-Fi, you're accessing the Educast Wi-Fi, and you connect through that to the box that's basically acting like a miniature server sitting on your living room floor or on your TV stand that's connected to the antenna. And through that connection, you're bringing in what was sent over the broadcast signal.
How did you guys come up with that?
There's actually a vendor that has been doing data casting for public safety for 20 years. And how it started in Indiana was the executive director of IPBS had been part of a test over a year ago about a school safety exercise and approached the vendor and said, has this ever been used in education? And that was about the same time that Stephanie and her group had approached them too. And it became a conversation amongst states about how this could actually work. And Stephanie's team ran with it. And Indiana eventually got with the program, and we were able to follow in their footsteps.
I'm only disappointed in the fact that the great state of Texas was not allowed to be in the first group of it. I'm just going to tell you, the Texans, we don't really take too kindly to being last. We'll definitely like to join the party. I'm telling you that right now.
Oh, come on. You need to join our Thursday parties.
Yes. Come on.
Yeah. Yes. That is amazing.
Your PBS station.
Oh, it's going down. Trust me. I am going to send this audio recording. When I get everything done, I'm sending this to my superintendent. And because we have a area, we're down towards near the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. There's just some rural pockets who they don't get cellular data very well. They don't get much of any signals, but I think the television signal does work there. I think this will be a game changer for a lot of our families, especially if it's something as low cost as $200 to get the components. We already give devices at our school. I just think that would be a great thing for us because we have a lot of hotspots. Really, I'm just talking too much, but we gave out hotspots. People had to bring hotspots back because they weren't able to catch the signal. And this right here is just cuts down on a lot of equity issues that a lot of schools are facing in the pandemic. And I wrote about that on a lot of episodes that we have done previously. So I'm like super excited about this. Stacy, I think that you answered this question already, but I'm going to ask it again. You said it's one-way communication. Can you do a video chat on that?
So in the current iteration of Datacasting, you can't. And I say that because there's only so much broadcast spectrum that we can use. And a standard Zoom call would take up a whole bunch of that. So I equate it to the highway. And right now it's 2:00 in the morning and we're cruising on the highway. Nobody's around and we can get through pretty good. What's about ready to happen is we're about ready to hit rush hour and there's only going to be so much movement at a time. A standard Zoom call would pretty much bring everything to a screeching halt. And that would be like the multi-car pileup scenario. So right now we're saying no to Zoom calls. There are some advances in television technology that are on the horizon that might change that. But until that technology is implemented, it's limited to one-way communication. But we are working with districts in how to, what we're calling the return path. How do we establish that return path? And so there's many different scenarios that we are working with districts in order to establish this return path. Some of them are very old school, a thumb drive exchange. You go and pick up your lunches and you have to turn in your thumb drive and you get a new thumb drive. And that's how the exchange works. Others are a little bit more sophisticated in that you can go and use Wi-Fi in the school parking lot. You go and connect for a few minutes and hit submit on all your assignments, and then you can go back home. It's 5 to 10 minutes in a parking lot rather than all day in a parking lot, which I would consider a huge win. Then the others are where there is that gray area internet, where you do have a cell phone or you do have internet, but it's not good enough to stream. It's good enough to send a PDF back. So you can attach to that Wi-Fi briefly in order to send materials back. It takes a lot less bandwidth to send back than it does to consume. If you're in one of the gray area internet homes, that return path is a lot easier. But there's lots of ways to combat that. School buses driving around with Wi-Fi. You go to your bus stop at the normal time. You have to log in and send all your assignments while the bus is there, and then it pulls off and goes to the next stop. So there's all different ways, and we work to customize that with each district.
That is amazing. Just another thought, and I don't know if this is possible, but radio waves, would it be able to send over radio waves?
I don't know that the answer to that is no. I honestly think that right now, though, the focus is on the broadcast signal for television. Before it even gets to radio, the question that's often asked of me is, can it get to television? Can we watch it on the TV? So we're not there yet, but I think that is a possibility with the enhancements that Stacy was mentioning earlier. So I would think we're closer to that than radio, but that is a question that I will certainly take.
That's great. The thumb drive exchange, come get your lunch, do the exchange. I can see so many different programs that can be ran. STEAM camps, STEM camps, low socioeconomic students, high socioeconomic. It doesn't even matter. This right here is such a game changer. And I want to see this technology in the hands of anybody who will use it. Where can, if I'm an educator or a school, like how can what do I need to do?
Go first, Stacy.
I would say reach out to your PBS station and have them get in contact with either iPBS or SCETV. They're the ones that went through the process with the states to have the conversations about bringing data casting technology to the state. And likely they're the ones that might have a little bit of money, maybe some CARES Act Part 2. That might be able to help fund this kind of project. I think those are the best ways to start. We've actually started a multi-state group that we're all talking every other week now of this is what I'm experiencing with deployments. What are you experiencing? Has anybody come across this yet? We created instructions. Who wants them? Those kinds of things. So that we're using resources wisely, but we're also trying to pave the way for other states to join us. And we've already tripped over some of the potholes, so we'll tell you where they are, and hopefully you don't step in the same ones that we stepped in. But I think connecting with the other states that have done this would be a great first step. And then also talking with your Department of Ed and within the state to see where there's interest or if it's been explored.
That is super duper amazing. Wow. You have something to add, Dr. Frazier?
I agree with all of those sentiments. I think that it really can be a grassroots effort. We had a technology and we were like, hey, we have something cool. Let's see if we can make this work. But certainly if you have teachers who are interested and like students need this technology, I think that can certainly go a long way in terms of partnering with your Department of Ed or your school district, reaching out to PBS to say, hey, we want to know more about this. And certainly we are happy to answer any questions. Okay. I told you data casting has been my life for the past, and I mean that. So any questions that we can answer, we are happy to do. And I'll just share our website, and from there you can Google search or whatever, but scetv.org/datacasting has all of the information about our pilot and what we're doing. And we're happy to, if you get to me, we'll connect you with whomever you need to. And I'm sure I speak for Stacy.
And the region is the same thing. It's just IPBS.org/datacasting.
Again, I was so impressed by your presentation at South by Southwest EDU. You ladies did an amazing job, and you all seem like there were other states there, and you guys all seem like y'all all worked together. And I was very impressed, but I was also a little hurt again that Texas wasn't involved in that. We're going to have to do better. I'm just going to tell you that. We're just going to have to. I'm going to write my senator and be like, what is going on with your life, sir? Pay attention. These people are doing it over here. They're doing it. But so quick question, where can our guests find you at, Stacy, on social media? I
am at SNF Writing on Twitter, and I am just Stacy Fitzsimmons on LinkedIn, and Facebook is my company is SNF Writing Solutions. So that's
I am about to follow you right now. All right. So if you see me doing that, I'm not really stalking you. I'm just saying, like, that's some good stuff right there. SNF Writing. All right. And Dr. Frazier, what about you?
So I am on LinkedIn, Stephanie Frazier, and I would send you all to SCETV Education. That's where we typically are very active on social media, and you can look us up on Instagram as well. But yeah, y'all please connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yes, I surely will add you. I will add you as well. Okay, ladies, I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with me. And I am looking forward to whatever else you guys are doing. I'm just going to just keep y'all around. And I hope that we'll be able to work together in the future, just to be able to work with you guys, because my school district and my students, we need you guys. So I appreciate the work that you're doing. I appreciate you stepping out equity and equality in ways that it's just an amazing thing. So I thank you, ladies, very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Subscribe to our Flipboard EDU podcast magazine.
Flipboard fam, thanks for sticking with me on this episode. I want to thank Dr. Stephanie Frazier and Stephanie Fitzsimmons for talking with us about datacasting. You can read more about this episode and other educators on the Educators blog on flipboard.com. I also want to give another huge shout out to Aileen Laylor and Crystal Vanderboom for the editorials on the Flip EDU Educators blog. Also, huge shout out to Mike McHugh for this episode's flip tip on iOS 14, adding a widget to your home screen. Appreciate that, Mike. Remember to subscribe to our Flipboard EDU magazine on flipboard.com. You also can leave us a message on our website at flippededupodcast.com. Click on the red microphone and leave a message. We'll even play your thoughts on the air, so don't be shy. Want to give a shout out or congratulations, or just tell us how you use Flipboard. Love to hear from you. So please subscribe and share our podcast with an educator or a colleague. Our podcast is available globally and everywhere you listen to podcasts. So until next time, family.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to put a Flipboard widget on your home screen. One of the great features of iOS is widgets. Widgets are like snippets of content that you can access quickly just by swiping from your home screen. Now, while widgets have been around for a while, in iOS 14, you can take those widgets and actually put them on your home screen where all of your app icons are. And this is really cool. Okay, so let's start by creating a Flipboard widget. To do that, just swipe to the right from your home screen and you'll see all the widgets. Tap and hold, and then tap on Edit Home Screen. Now you'll see a plus in the upper left corner. Go ahead and tap that, and you'll see all the different widgets that you can add. So let's scroll down here and add Flipboard. Tap that, and now I can choose the layout that I want to use. I can do a 4-up, I can do a 2-up, I can do a single story wide, or a single story narrow. So let's go ahead and add the 4-up. Just tap Add Widget, and there you have it. So now I have Flipboard in my widgets, and this will show me the first 4 stories in my For You feed. Now, I can also take this widget and put it at the top of all of my other widgets just by dragging and dropping. And there you have it. So now Flipboard is just a swipe away if I want to see quickly what's in my For You feed. So just from my home screen, just swipe to the right, and there you go. If I see a story I'm interested in, I can just tap on it, and Flipboard launches right away, and I can see the story, and then come right back to my widgets. So now let's add Flipboard to the home screen. Go to your home screen, tap and hold, and then that same plus button appears in the upper left. Tapping that will bring up your list of widgets. I'll go back here to Flipboard, and then in this case, I'll choose a 2-up layout so that it uses a little less screen real estate. I'll hit Add Widget, and there we go. Now I have Flipboard right on my home screen. Now there's one more thing to show you. If you want to have the Flipboard widget not just show you your For You feed, but maybe show you your daily edition, or 10 for today, or Flipboard picks, you can do that in the Flipboard settings. Just open up Flipboard, go to your profile, tap on settings, and adjust the widget settings right down here. So I'll just go ahead and pick daily edition. And now the daily edition is on my home screen. So there you have it, Flipboard on your home screen. I hope this was helpful. Keep on flipping.